My first experience with Faster Than Light was in college. I was in my local college's cafeteria trying to pass the time when I saw this game on a girl's laptop. It piqued my interest, so I approached her and asked her what game it was she was playing. When I asked what game it was, I vaguely remember seeing the ship explode and the game over screen appearing. And I kid you not, she turns to look at me and her face looked like she was about to cry, and she just spouts out 3 letters. FTL. I didn't understand what she meant by that, because I was expecting, an actual game title. So I just nodded and walked away. It's moments like these that live rent-free in my head. Cool story, but did it actually happen?
Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Anyhow, Faster Than Light. Faster Than Light is a roguelike game where if you die, you have to start over. Nothing carries over from run to run. However, based on certain unspecified requirements, you can unlock new ships to which you can start a new run on. Roguelikes aren't for everyone. Personally, I like them a lot. I find them to be relaxing, which I understand to many of you hearing this, you might think I'm insane for saying such a thing. To which I answer, you're right. I am insane. I have many hours in this game and in the first darkest dungeon for this exact reason. If you've never played FTL before, your first and only playable ship is the Crystal Cruiser. It's not that bad for a beginner ship. It comes with a Burst Laser 2 and an Artemis missile launcher. Both pretty decent early game weapons that can get the job done. You can select what part of the enemy ship you want to shoot at, and you can even set your weapons to automatically fire when ready. On your end of the screen, you can move your crew around, which is important because you'll want to allocate crew members to positions that best suit their skills. The game consists of reaching the exit node on the sector before the rebel fleet catches up to you. You don't get a game over if they catch you. A game over only happens when your ship loses all its health, or your entire crew dies. If the rebel fleet catches up to you, you lose out on any events that may have happened on that node, and you have to fight a rebel ship. At this point, you have to either hold out until you can warp jump to a different node, or fight and destroy the enemy ship. If you do fight and win, you only gain 1 fuel, instead of the usual scrap, missiles, and drone pieces. I really don't recommend you do this, because it's a waste of time and resources. You can have a myriad of different weapons, some better than others depending on the type of ship you have and what build you're going for. Personally, I like going for a raiding build using the Mantis ships, therefore weapons become secondary to me in the early game. You will want some way to damage shields though, as ships tend to get stronger the deeper you go into the run. Nodes contain various forms of events, most of which involve ship-to-ship combat, but some hold unique blue dialogue options that are determined based on what type of crew you have, ship upgrades, and or weapons. I suggest you use these options as they tend to give you better unique rewards than the usual scrap. Speaking of crew, your crew is very important. Different crew species have different unique abilities tied to them. This extends to their skills as well. Skills are attributes that make your crew better at specific tasks. For example, navigating the ship, being a repairman, or manning weapons. Of the different crew members, there are a total of 8 unique species of crew. Humans, which are self-explanatory, that's you dude, they have no unique abilities outside of learning skills faster. The Engi, which in my opinion look like Upgrade from Ben 10, they have increased repair speed and deal low damage. The Mantis, or as I like to call them, the Boogs, they sit on the opposite side to the Engi. They have low repair speed, but high attack, and in addition they move faster than average. Next up, the Rockmen. They're literally just rock people. Not much to it. Think of the Thing, but in space. They have high HP, slower than average movement, but can eliminate fires quickly and are immune to fires as well. The Zoltan. They glow. Arguably the most unique and strategic of the races in the game. They provide +1 power to whatever area they're in, giving you a much needed power boost, and they explode when they die. Which is something, I guess. Slugs! They're immune to mind control. They can reveal enemy crews on ships, not counting drones however, and can reveal the interior of adjacent rooms. A surprisingly good crew member, albeit a little difficult to get early on in the game. The Lanius, some sort of metallic looking alien dudes that suck the oxygen out of any occupied room they're in while being immune to the suffocation themselves. And lastly we have the Crystal Men, which The game itself is pretty self-explanatory. You can approach it in various ways, but they'll all boil down to destroy the enemy ship and keep yours alive. Whether that is through a balls to the wall, shoot 6 lasers at one strategy, or eliminate the enemy crew from the inside, the Mantis style of play. Careful with boarding builds. You can potentially soft lock yourself into a loss that way. The ship can get various upgrades, some to stuff you already have, but occasionally you can find entirely new ship systems available to you at the store. One big gripe that I have is that cloaking feels mandatory, especially in higher difficulties, and more so when fighting the final boss. Probably a skill issue, but I found myself on numerous occasions reaching the last stage with a strong build, only to die to the missile spam or drum spam because I didn't have cloak or some other form of mitigating damage. Speaking of the final boss, this thing is a beast. It has 4 unique weapons, a cloaking device, max shields, and a metric ton of health. If you're lucky enough to get past the first phase, you've got another 2 more to contend with. The boss is surprisingly difficult to beat if you slacked on getting decent weapons and ship upgrades. With gameplay out of the way, I want to talk to you now about the lore, of which there's an equal amount of none and a lot, depending on what dialogue you get on certain events. To give you a brief summary of what I've understood the lore to be, the Federation, that's us, is a multi-species government. Think of the Federation of Planets from Star Trek. At some point in the recent past, they went to war with the Mantis species. This war led to the deaths of many, most of which were human. When peace between the Federation and the Mantis occurred, the Mantis joined the Federation as allies. To give you another Star Trek example, think of the Mantis as the Klingons. Needless to say, many humans did not like this, and as a result, they started a rebellion. This rebellion eventually grew so big that it threatened to destroy the Federation as a whole. The rebels amassed a massive fleet, with which they planned to use to destroy the Federation government, once and for all. This leads to the beginning of the game and its introductory text. Simple enough. Don't hate on me too much if I got some information wrong, okay? The game doesn't exactly throw a lot of lore exposition at you. And that's the gist of Faster Than Light. A pretty cool game from a now forgotten time. The studio behind the game has gone to create one more game called Into the Breach, but outside of that, nothing, at least to my knowledge. There is this massive overhaul mod called FTL Multiverses, that to my understanding functions like a sequel to the game with the amount of things it adds to it. Haven't personally played it myself, but I might in the future. Hopefully one day we get an official sequel to the game, preferably one that doesn't deviate too far from what made the original good. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe. Dislike it if you disliked it, and if you'd like to help me grow, don't forget to share the video. Peace out.